Hey there, you clairvoyant bards and bardettes. Welcome back to I Cast Vicious Mockery. I'm Austin.
I'm Matt.
And today we want to talk to you about the future.
Yeah.
It's time. So we want to get this like business stuff out of the way first. We want to talk about the future of the show. This show. We're ending it. It's the last episode. That should be like the title of this or something.
This is the last. No,
this is the last
don't
episode.
Make that the title.
So no, we have to go at least 3 more, maybe 4, depending on whether we're following the Harry Potter books or the Harry Potter movies with naming the files for these things. But anyway, this one's the Goblet of Fire and the file name.
Yes, yeah. We started by naming them after. I already forgot.
We started with Star Wars.
Star Wars, right?
And then we ran out of Star Wars movies.
Yeah, so then we started Harry Potter.
So we started Harry Potter. We're going to run out of those. And then we're going to go to Fast and the Furious. And then probably James Bond or something.
Oh,
There's
a
lot of James Bond movies.
Yeah, James Bond would be a good one.
We'll have to do like each series or something with all the different Bonds. And
I think that's enough planning ahead for now.
Yeah,
that'll take us through a couple years.
And that's not any of the important stuff that we wanted to tell you guys about. So we'll get to that now. So one thing is we want to bring out some clips of the show, some like first of all, shorter things that are easier to share, but also some like compilation-y type stuff, because we realize that we're a little scatterbrained sometimes, or sometimes ideas just take time to develop.
Yeah.
And
even across episodes.
Right, exactly. So sometimes we talk about the same thing across multiple episodes. And if you're like me, and you want to go back and listen to something like this sometime, you're going to be like, all right, well, what episode was that in? And you'll have to go through all of them and figure, we got you.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take care of that a little bit for you at least. And we're going to put some of those topics into their own things. So that way you can just go to one place, boom, single click. You got everything on whatever topic it is. Like every time we talk about basket, that's a good one. Make a note of that. Every time basket's on screen, we'll put that as its own category. That's a good place to start. Now, what about the further future? Let's talk about equipment. Let's talk about equipment.
Yeah. So we are hoping to get honestly just better equipment. Right now our setup is it's not terrible.
Yeah, and it makes great use of what we've got. Like we're using my phone as the camera. Which it's a pretty decent camera.
And
we have a Blue Snowball microphone, not the Blue Snowball Pro, the black one, you know?
Yeah,
this is the regular blue
one, which we purchased years ago. I think we split this, right?
Yes. Or something like that.
Or something like that. Or like I bought this and you bought the capture card or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might have been what it was. And that was in high school or something.
Yeah, maybe just after high school.
Yeah. So this thing's almost 10 years old.
Yeah. But it's working fine. We are hoping to get a better microphone setup though. Yeah, that's one of my big things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That I want to do. And then little things like I was looking into some set dressing. Like
speaking of which, that's what that is.
Oh, is it?
Little tiny bit.
Little something. Little set. Austin got me an Xmas gift.
Yeah. Just a little small.
Little Crossmas thing.
Little Crimbus. Crimbus Crumble.
Yeah, a little Crimbly Crumble gift here.
Yeah. And like as long as this show keeps being fun, we're going to keep doing it. And we're on episode 13, it looks like. And guess what? It's actually, I think it's been more fun.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
I've been having a great time.
Yeah.
When we added the face cam, that was a great step forward for me. Because seeing these videos go up, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like every time it's just like super exciting. I hit the upload button. And then like 5 hours later when the video is done uploading, I'm like, oh my God, it's there. It's real.
It exists on the internet. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think so too. I do. And I think it's great that people watch it.
Yep.
Like that's cool,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad that we can provide your ears some distraction or entertainment for, just over an hour a week. That's a nice thing. That means we're at way more than 10 hours though right now too. So when we get
Yeah.
to, I think when we get to 100 hours, something special has to happen. We have to do some kind of bonus episode. 100 hours of audio goodness from our wonderful voices. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll plan that.
Some
This is just something that we thought of. Like
yeah.
just now, I just thought of this. We'll plan something for you. What else we got? You got to check out our new merch store. No, we're not there yet.
That's one of the things we're hoping to do eventually.
Yeah, like if a bunch of people are watching this or anything like that in the future, yeah, we would do things like that.
Because
Mostly because I want a cool shirt for myself.
Yeah, I do. Don't even at me, bro. I love merch.
I'm running dangerously low on shirts to wear for the show.
For the show, yeah, me too. Yeah, I busted out this cool Darth Vader thing.
Right.
I haven't worn this in so long.
Right. Yeah. So we need thousands and thousands of people to watch this so we can open up a merch store just so we can keep wearing different shirts.
Yeah, get them for ourselves. Because
I actually, so that's the thing. Let's talk about small tangent.
Yeah.
Do you care about re-wearing clothes or stuff like that to different events or around different people or whatever? Because
I only started to because somebody planted that idea in my head in high school.
Yeah.
That like wearing the same thing twice in like some people think that wearing something twice ever is like, don't do that.
Yes, it is.
But
well, that's like for a formal event or stuff like that. Crazy. A lot of people will wear, like they'll get a dress or a suit or a shirt or a tie or whatever, and like that's the only time it's ever used. Like just that once.
The one time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. Why would
I can't afford that.
Yeah,
that's not my lifestyle.
Why would I buy something to only wear it once? I mean, I could see never doing the same combination twice in a row.
Right. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. I could see it. I still do that.
Right. I mean, I would do it too.
Because
I have a couple of favorites.
Well, so I only have like one formal outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wear it every chance I get. Mm-hmm. And I figure if I'm buying it, it should be something that I would wear every chance I get. If that makes sense.
I
so if I buy something else that I like just as much or more, well then that would be fine. But if I buy something and I don't like it, that would not be okay.
I don't have very much formal wear. As far as suits go, I only have one. I only have one suit. Mm-hmm. It's not even black. It's like a really dark gray. But I have a bunch of shirts. I have a bunch of nice shirts. And I have, and by a bunch, I mean I have like 6. And then I have like, I actually, hold on. I have a special arrangement for my ties, so I could probably get an exact number to you. 8. I have 8 ties. And I think that, and I have 2 pairs of formal shoes. So mix and match that. I think that's
fine. A lot of combinations. That's actually.
That's. I mean, you can get a lot of mileage out of that, and I have, because that's the same amount of stuff that I've had for. I mean, basically my entire life. My suit is different because I grew out of the other one that I had. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I got a fancy one relatively recently, and that one, as long as I fit into it, I'm gonna be wearing that for a while because I like it.
My parents have this this thing where they leverage things that they don't need to leverage sometimes. Mm-hmm. So the reason I have this suit now, I probably wouldn't have ever even gotten a new one, except that my mother said, "Hey, my friend's daughter is getting married. I want you to come to the wedding. It's in Ohio." Mm-hmm. It wasn't that far away. It was like It was like a 2-hour drive or something, which isn't terrible. And then I was about to say, "Yeah, sure, I'll go," but before I could, she was like, I'll buy you a new suit if you go. And I was like, okay.
Man, you're real. Oh, you're just really. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, they leverage things against me that they don't have to, or not against me, but like.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
They like sweeten the deal before they even know whether or not they have to.
Right.
It's funny, so that's why I have that.
Yeah.
At all. Anyway, this was a big tangent. So
yes.
Merch
is happening this month. We're dropping something eventually.
Eventually
we would love it. We would love that.
I would be so excited to
do merch. That'd be pretty sweet.
And then Patreon, right? We were thinking
possibly
eventually maybe doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we would get sponsors or things like that too, but there's a fun thing that I've seen with a couple of podcasts where they do like bonus stuff for Patreon. Like you get the episodes with no ads if you want. Mm-hmm. Some people prefer them with the ads because that's how they hear about cool things that they might be interested in.
Yeah.
Some people prefer without the ads because it saves time and with things like that, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But some of them do stuff like bonus, like every episode we have discussions that like go on way too long.
Yeah, that's true.
We could just keep going. And we would put those in the bonus, section of an episode that would just go on a Patreon or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility. I know that Patreon collects some of the money for it and stuff. So like, I don't know what the, like a reasonable amount will be. We're not there yet. We're not at the part where we do all the math.
Yeah. We're not going to do that yet. But what that would do is it would allow us to get, to the point where we could get better equipment.
Yes.
Where we could,
instead of just asking for it for Christmas every time, which is like, we're all about that. All right. We're doing it.
I would use a really nice mic for anyway. For
exactly.
Anything, so that's what I'm doing with personally is I'm just going to just buy it myself.
Yeah.
Or
eventually I want to have a nice camera as well.
Yeah.
Because then I have my nice shotgun mic on top of my phone, but I can't use it with my phone right now.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to do some of that.
And I think having like a multiple camera setup would be good.
That'd be, especially just so we don't have to sit right here next to each other like this and like turn and talk. Like
a three camera setup would be really cool.
We'd like a cool setup.
Yeah. Because then you've got like one on me, one on you, and then one on both of us.
Right.
It makes it more interesting to watch too.
Yeah.
Because a single camera angle sometimes gets boring to just see the same thing. And like even something as simple as just cutting to just you or just me every once in a while, it literally, as easy as that is, makes things more interesting to watch sometimes.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We do. So here's another thing. I do want to get the podcast on other platforms as well. Things like Spotify. Well, basically, once you put a podcast on somewhere, it's on everywhere. Because we would just do it through a multiple. It's not a multiple listing service. That's a real estate thing, but basically that.
Yeah, like the same kind of concept. Yeah.
Right.
We would get it put up all over the place.
Right. That costs money though.
Right, exactly.
So that like we just haven't done it yet. Like that is the plan though. And like it's not that much. So we'll be able to afford that like in the near-ish future. But it's
I'd say so.
It's not free. Like putting up the videos on YouTube is free. We just so we did that as like a cool way. It's a good way to get started because we didn't know if we were going to stick to this when we started. Before episode 1, you can't tell. And then like episode 10 hits and you're like, all right, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Start hitting your stride.
Once we get to episode 100, I think we'll be like, okay, yeah, this is going on forever.
I'm not sure about that. We're still really just testing the waters. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Who knows, right?
Right. So
that could be.
Yeah. At some point, we were like, all right, the switch has flipped. We're in go mode on this. So yeah, we want to get that up. I want to get a website going just because I can do that. And
we'll get a website.
So why would we not have one? I mean, right now it's just because I'm busy, but you know.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's talk about that topic next.
Okay.
Me being very busy. Because it ties into my thing for today.
Okay. Cool.
So we'll just go right on to that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about. I wanted to talk about XP
Okay.
and D&D
Mm-hmm.
and the weird dreams thing. I wrote XP and weird dreams. That's gonna come up.
Sure.
So when we get there, we'll get there. I'll take that tangent when we hit it. But I don't know, dude. I have to talk about the Adventure Zone again.
Oh
It's time.
no.
Yeah.
I
I love it.
I
I
listened to
love
2
it so much.
episodes yesterday.
I think I did as well. Something. No, not two. Maybe close to two. I don't
Uh,
know. I've been listening to it at like 1.9 times speed,
mm,
just because then I can get through it
yeah.
faster. It is still just as funny at that's like I don't go fast enough. Like I don't crank up the speed enough to make it not funny anymore.
Yeah.
That's my threshold. Is like if it's not funny, put it
Mm,
back down. But I still bust out laughing, so it's working. Um, but no. Well, as I was listening to it, I was like, "Wow, XP is so messed up in D&D.
yeah.
It doesn't match how reality works at all. That's not always a bad thing because it's a game.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider like how limited time and stuff. Okay, yeah, it makes sense the way it is, but
Mm-hmm.
we could do it different.
We could.
Um, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. What do you think? I don't like to just accept things how they are. I
Mm,
usually like to question it, you know?
yeah, because if there's the opportunity to make something better,
Hmm.
why not?
Yeah, or
You
or
know?
even if you just question it, you'll figure out whether or not it suits your needs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it can kind of or it will affirm, or it'll either like affirm how you feel about it,
Yeah.
like if you accept it and then you question it and then you come back to that same conclusion,
Hmm.
then you're like, okay, I'm doubling now. I can sort of
Yeah, and
double
and
down on this.
I think once you understand it at that deeper level too,
Yeah.
actually that might be a requirement to use some of the systems and things like that in D&D is understanding them at a deeper level.
Yes, I think so.
Like I don't think you'd be able to do it without that for some certain thing. Anyway, we'll talk about that maybe I don't know sometime, but
But so yeah, the whole like challenge rating system of
yeah.
D&D, which is related to experience, because
Hmm.
that's kind of how you get experience.
Right.
Yeah, it's not perfect,
Yeah.
and I'd even go as far as to say it's not very good.
Yeah,
Um,
have you noticed in our encounters that it doesn't quite match up?
no, because
Or
and I
oh
think
well, in the Cataclysmic Rift campaign that you're running,
uh
it's also a huge party.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
seven people is a lot.
yeah,
I think
that
nine is the most that they say that you ever really should do. More than nine is like crazy.
yeah,
I couldn't even imagine running 7 people. I keep going back to this. That's part of what is
it's a
making
huge campaign. That's really hard. Like I don't even
it
know 7 people in real life.
exactly. I don't either. Uh, but I think that I've thought multiple times about finding like a place in the story where it would make sense, but maybe eventually splitting it into 2 different campaigns of like 3 and 4.
Mhm.
Because I think everybody would have more fun,
It'd be
and
more convenient for scheduling.
it would be
Oh, dude, scheduling
scheduling is
that many
tough.
people is hard. Um,
But also it would be more convenient for scheduling, and also I don't mind running 2 different ones. Like I would take the time for that.
well,
It's
especially in the
fine.
same setting. There's
Yeah.
something to that, like where
Hmm.
where they sort of synergize with each other. Then both campaigns sort of add to the whole lore of the setting.
Hmm.
And so what happens is you get a you get like an extra developed setting
Hmm.
for both of them, which is that's kind of a cool, awesome idea, and maybe that could happen.
I think it
That
would.
might be a really great thing.
I think it would just take a lot of pressure off of everybody.
Hmm.
It would take a lot of pressure off of me because it's really tough to make everybody feel included in the game when there are so many people,
Hmm.
like every session. it's not hard to make everybody feel included sometimes.
Right.
But it's nearly impossible for me because I'm so new at it.
It's like super impossible. I messed it up. All right.
Okay. It's tough. It's tough for me. I kind of jumped into it not super well. Like didn't understand how much of a difference it made.
Right.
Having 7 people rather than 3 or 4. You know, 3 or 4 is like anywhere from 2 to 4. I think is nearly the same. But like 5, 6, 7.
It's like breaking concrete.
It's breaking concrete. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, you don't feel the difference up to 4.
Yeah.
And then like you hit 6 and you're like, oh, okay, I felt that. And you hit 7 and you're like, that was a little heavy.
Why was that so much harder?
And then you go for like 8 and you're like, whoa.
That's way harder. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like breaking concrete. Yes. Just so you guys know, Austin and I have been martial artists for a long time. You longer than I have.
Yeah.
So we're not, that's not like a metaphor or anything.
I am nearing 20 years.
Yeah. I'm only at 15 myself, but we both have broken large stacks of concrete actually. Yes. And that's how it is. It like 4, like 3 is the same as 1.
Mm-hmm.
and
you literally, if you were blindfolded and they were the same height, you wouldn't be able to guess. If you broke 3 and we took away some slabs and then unblindfolded you, you'd be like, yeah, I broke 1. I knew that.
Maybe by the sound.
Maybe by the sound.
You know, for an adult person at least, like it's the same.
Yeah.
4 isn't much harder.
No.
But then it exponentially increases from there.
Yes. I've broken 10 with my elbow.
Yeah.
10 hurts even when it breaks.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it just still hurts.
Wow.
It doesn't feel good.
Because I've broken 8 is the most I've done.
Yeah.
And it was the hardest part about it was getting the angle right.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got the angle right, it actually wasn't as hard as I was expecting.
Right.
But I've never tried 10. I'm sure 10 is like...
I think it probably only hurt because it was my elbow, but I also, I don't, like 10's too tall to do with my hand.
Right.
Like it just reached that point.
8 is too tall.
I didn't know if I could do anything.
Yeah. So
8 I could do with my hand. I'm just tall enough, I think. Because that's the most I've done.
Cinder blocks upright, or would you have to put them sideways?
I think they were upright. I don't remember. I only did it once, and then I was like, all right, I'll just move on to elbow next.
Wow.
Yeah.
I skipped 7. I've never broken 7.
Me neither.
Oh, really?
I don't know what's up with that. Yeah.
It just seems like a weird number. You would think it would be like a lucky number, but I don't know. It seems like a weird number to break.
Yeah.
So I broke 6, but then I broke 8 after that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's so cool that wait for us.
Well, here's why though. Here's why. It's a combinatorics problem.
Okay.
So if you have 2 people,
mm-hmm.
there's 1 connection.
Mm-hmm.
All right, between each person. If you have 3 people, now you have 1, 2, 3 connections.
Yeah.
If you have 4 people, right, it keeps going up like that. So it's instead of 3, it's what, 6 connections or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
6. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. You're right.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, so man, what is it for 7? What is it for 7?
I forget the formula off the top of my head.
I'm just gonna count on my fingers.
You won't be able to.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24.
Maybe, yeah.
Is that too low? Okay. Anyway,
but that's between just the players, and then there's each player to each NPC, and
to the DM. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more I've thought about it, the more I've realized that for the game that I'm running, and I'm not saying it like there are plenty of people out there who can run like a 7-person campaign, but I think it requires a lot of things. First of all, it requires a more experienced dungeon master. I just haven't been doing it very long.
Yeah. It also requires a lot of time. Each session has to be very long.
A lot of time. There has to be like just the most amount. I think that all the players have to be pretty experienced too.
Yeah.
Because
because it's hard for everybody to keep track of everyone else unless they are. Because right now, like I have to think about the relationships with other characters, but also the mechanics. I have to think a lot about that because I don't know, like I don't just know it off the top of my head. Right. So there's a lot of that stuff going on.
And I think that the hardest thing is that everybody, all the players and the dungeon master, have to trust each other like a lot. Because it's really easy for emotions to run hot in something like this,
right?
In a game like this,
right?
Yeah. So you know, I mean, if I'm being honest, I can't see Cataclysmic Rift being able to do that until level 10. There's certain reasons for that.
Yeah. But actually that is kind of how I was thinking too, is like there are definitely chances for things to be shaken up in the future. Right now, for story reasons, it wouldn't make sense to split anything.
Exactly. So we might go through all of 2021 with the current setup.
Yeah, which is nice because it's getting everybody together to talk still, and that's good. I like that.
It was nice during this pandemic, especially, because everybody socializing is like the hardest thing to do during all of this. I think so.
Yeah, I think it's good to keep everybody connected. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
and even if the party would split up, I think there'd be still some sessions where it's everybody.
Yeah, and well, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, I think that even if we were doing two different things,
it would be awesome.
Crossover episode.
It'd be awesome if the party, like the two mini parties, ran into each other without realizing that was going to happen.
Oh yeah, I could make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Like sure. Oh gosh, that's fun stuff. So anyway, though.
Yeah. So, okay, I think we've got a real way back. So experience.
Yes.
Is what we were talking about.
I wanted to talk about experience.
Yeah.
Let's take the whole experience system.
Okay.
We're going to throw that in the garbage.
Sure. Done.
All right. The XP for combat. Nope. You don't get that anymore.
Okay.
Milestones. That's worse. You do not get that. No, none of those. Well, not exactly. So let me tell you, here's what I'm thinking. And this was inspired by the Adventure Zone because they're in school. They level up in their classes, right? Like they do lessons and that's what makes them level up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's not exactly how it works in the real world. So I wanted a more real world inspired system that I did come up with. I didn't do the math on it. So the numbers aren't there yet, but let me tell you the general idea of how it would work.
Okay.
You gain experience by studying and learning and things like that.
Yes.
And you can level up by gaining experience. In D&D, it's already set up that higher levels require magnitudes higher experience to get through them. Like just a whole order of magnitude up. Basically, like you only need a couple hundred experience to go from level 1 to 2, and you need I think on the order of 100,000 to go from, like in the 100,000s to go from 19 to 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is you do lessons, you do classes, you do sparring, you do training, you do whatever it is in your daily life to get better at your thing. Of being a sneaky rogue or being a stabby ranger or whatever you are. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe fighter. What, you know what I'm talking about. It's fine.
I think
rogues are stabby too. So
yeah.
The only issue is if you just keep grinding and doing the same things over and over, you will still keep getting like 10 experience. You have to go out there and do a grander, sort of greater task in order to multiply the amount of XP you get. Right? It starts to get you, and the explanation for that is like this. It matches up a little bit with the real world. Number one, you don't learn things in the moment. Okay? Like if I go and do a big battle, during that battle, I might come to a realization, but probably not. especially if it's taking everything I have to actually do the fighting.
Yeah, that's made up anime stuff.
Yeah, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
So instead, here's how it would go. Reflecting on that,
Yes.
you start to notice the things that in your training will give you an advantage, right? Like you start to know better what it is that you should be training on. So your training is more valuable. It becomes more efficient. And so you get more experience points for it. So basically, it's a good way to use your downtime in between big events.
Okay.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also like you can't just go and try to like progress as fast as you can and just do the main thing because like you just won't be able to do it.
So
you're not buff enough yet.
What you're saying is, this is what I'm getting out of this. Your training time that you use, like your downtime training time, that is how you gain experience.
Right.
But
and your experience would be diminished if you're exhausted or things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
There could be all sorts of fun rules with it.
But the longer that you train without having some kind of, for lack of a better term, valuable experience, like a big battle or something like that.
Yeah, without pushing yourself, basically.
Yeah, you get diminishing returns.
You get the same returns, but 100 experience per day is not going to cut it when you're level 15.
Okay.
Like you're not going to reach your next level.
So you're saying that after man, I can't think of the word.
Like a milestone or like a
overcoming like a big
obstacle.
Yeah,
exactly.
After like overcoming a big obstacle, your training becomes more valuable because you're thinking about it in a different way and approaching it from a different angle.
Yes, you take those real life experiences and you apply it to you apply what your reflections on those to your training.
Yeah, like the martial arts way. Like you undergo a greater challenge, which allows you to see your training. It could almost be a different, like almost like the opposite even, where because that's you could approach it either way, I think. Because like if you wanted it to be like the adventure zone as a school, you could think of it like, because the way school works is you train and train and train, and then the obstacle is to see if all of your training got you to the benchmark that you need.
Tests are just a checkpoint.
Right.
They're just to see where you're at. Yeah.
So it could work like that, where like in D&D, even in like an adventure type of setting, it could be like there's this thing that you have to overcome. Your character can train and train and train, and then they go and they see if they've
that's a possibility as well.
Right. But I see where you're coming from though, because what you're saying is almost the opposite of that. It's like they go and they do the thing, and that gives them insight into their chosen vocation.
Yeah, which is actually how it does work that way.
Well, that's how real life works.
Learning.
Yeah, because the education system is not the best way to learn, like the way the current education system isn't the best way to learn.
For most people, it's not the best way to. For some people, it actually works perfectly.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
And I think that the people who contribute to it do a really good job with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, because I know some good teachers out there, and they too. Yeah, and I've had some good teachers who have definitely changed my life, and I've gained more from the good teachers in my time schooling than I did from the combined rest of the system. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that I learned from them have compounded more in my life than all of the specific facts and information and skills that I've gained. Yeah, through all of schooling, all the way up through college. So
I agree. I agree. with that 100%. So,
which supports my system of experience points in D&D. So let's talk about another thing though.
Yes, yeah,
because this is a related thing. I don't want to stay on this topic forever, but
sure.
So I work like 60 to 70 hours a week right now.
Yeah, currently.
It's a lot of hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually like it's going up for the holidays and stuff too.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year.
It's a lot of working. I have had the unfortunate and very unpleasant experience of having dreams lately where I am providing what's that, customer service during my dreams, essentially. Like I am just doing my job.
Yeah.
Like I'm on phone calls. I am, delivering people their orders and stuff like that. Oh.
In your dream.
In my dreams.
Jeez.
And I'll wake up,
mm-hmm.
fall back asleep, because you do that during the night,
Yeah.
And I'll be at the other work, and I'll be like, shoot, there was something I was supposed to do at my other work, though. Like, I got to get back and finish that. And then there's another thing that comes in. And so all night is just as bad as all day, where I'm behind and panicked and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been unpleasant, but that's related in this way.
Okay.
Your sleep,
mm-hmm.
dreams, and all that sort of stuff. It's all a synthesis of the things that you've been learning and experiencing.
Yes, that's how we learn. Yep.
So maybe the XP is actually just applied while you're asleep. So like on a long rest, you wake up and boom, that's when the XP hits you or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to do it.
Because again, and you could argue that running D&D more realistically wouldn't make it more fun,
mm-hmm.
but this is how it actually works, and it makes sense.
Well, and I think this could be. It depends on the setting. Like
mm-hmm.
if your characters are in fantasy college, that's probably the right way to do it. Like you have mm-hmm. big exams, you've got these like big out of classroom assignments, and those are sort of the things that make your experience modifier go up. But like if you're not getting enough sleep, then and maybe there will be opportunities to choose to like, I'm going to do this tonight, sneak out and whatever, mm-hmm. or I'm going to gain experience tonight. And so you might be a little under leveled compared to maybe your classmates, and that could affect your grades.
Yeah.
Just by chance or things like that.
Yeah, like if you don't always get proper sleep, then mm-hmm. that has an effect on your ability to gain experience.
But then like socially, that might, like if you might take a hit if you sleep too much. Right? Like if mm-hmm. You never hang out with the other characters and talk to them and stuff like that. That could be an interesting thing. But I also think that you can like sort of skip through it too. Just like instead of giving the players XP at the end of combat, just if there's a long rest after the combat, give them the XP then or things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, so that provides a nice thing where long rest because long resting in D&D is already like a thing where when the characters do it, they're like, oh, thank you, mm-hmm. and it's like such a weight off their shoulders and everything. This would make it even more of like, oh baby, we're long resting, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not keeping track and they don't know whether or not they're going to level up.
Yep.
When they wake up and stuff like that. But also it would make it.
And if you're like in the middle of some real stuff and like, but you realize like, oh my God, wait a second, I am really close to leveling up. This could make the difference. Mm-hmm. If we are so close, we have to find a way to long rest, guys. Mm-hmm. We got to set up a camp somewhere. That could be fun. Well, I mean, normally you'd want a long rest anyway, but sometimes you're just like, no, we'll just push through.
Well, and not with the camp, not with Cataclysmic Rift. You guys want a long rest every 2 seconds.
Well, yeah.
But no, I think that's normal. But
all right, sorry.
I'm just saying that like it also raises the stakes because sometimes when you're trying to long rest, stuff attacks you in the middle of the night.
Actually, when you're raising them, they're just still called cows. Did you know that? That was not pre-prepared. That was some improv gold there. You can go ahead if you can contain the laugh. I can't yet. So you
So anyway,
carry on.
Yeah, middle of the night, you get attacked by stuff that makes it
right.
a
It really
bit
kind of like increases the stakes.
more compelling.
It really, yeah, raises those stonks.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about the fact that this is something that I think about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there is. I think that people are pretty awesome, or they can be.
Okay. Yes.
You know,
we're at a good starting point. I like this.
Humans, like just
Yeah.
people. I staunchly refuse to be like pessimistic about things all the time.
Mm-hmm. Wait, is this a disclaimer or is this related?
This is related.
Okay, good.
So like not to. I'm gonna bring this back up here, but like a lot of people, like newsworthy things are usually things that are bad.
Yes.
Because they're newsworthy because they don't happen that much.
Like that sticks out.
Or they're really important.
Mm-hmm.
Like to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, there's an E. coli outbreak in spinach. Like, don't eat spinach right now. That kind of stuff.
But it doesn't mean like never eat spinach. It's like
Yeah.
usually spinach is good for you.
Yeah.
And usually you should eat spinach. But like, we got your back if we find there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, like 80% of news is like, this is bad, stay away from this, don't do this, this is terrible stuff is happening. Yeah. And that causes a lot of people to, because that's like what people hear all the time,
mm-hmm.
It causes some people, I think, to be like, man, people are the worst, because like most of news is also like about people and individuals.
And then once the seed is planted, then you've got confirmation bias helping you to find all the terrible people in the world.
Right, because if you're looking for it, you'll find it all over the place. All the people that are doing bad stuff all over the world, all the time, constantly. Mm-hmm. Like it's always happening. But my life experience, limited though it is, has shown me that more often than not, people are awesome.
Right.
And also,
Randy Pausch, I believe, the last lecture.
Yes. I've read that. Yeah. Oh, that's an awesome. That's such a good book. Yeah.
I think his saying was, if you give someone enough time, they will always surprise you. And sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But like if your initial impression of somebody is negative, like if you give them enough time, you're gonna find something good in there.
Absolutely.
So, anyway,
yeah, 100%. So, one thing that will never go away with humanity, I think, is creativity. It's just a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. It's part of why we're doing the show. Creativity is a huge part of it. And I've found there are just certain people that I really, really draw a lot of inspiration from. I've found not organizations, not entities, not genres, but like people, that make really, really good stuff consistently all the time.
Right.
And I'm always really excited when I find, when I like discover it, sometimes it's people I already know about, but I discover somebody who like, wow, this person is way better than I thought, than I ever would have thought. One of those people recently is Jon Favreau. You know that guy?
Yep.
You know Jon Favreau?
Yeah.
He's like one of the coolest people that I know. I found out.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, because I'm thinking, I know some cool stuff he's done.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing I don't know the full extent of this.
So I'm discovering this because of a couple of, quite frankly, coincidental things, really, like separate things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've known who Jon Favreau is for a long time.
Right.
It was only like not even a year ago that I connected the dot that he directed Iron Man, like the
Yep.
first Iron Man movie,
Yep.
and that also he plays the part of Happy
Yes.
in those movies. Like that's him.
Yep.
and like yeah, I was like, oh, that's the director.
That's the director.
Oh, cool. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I never and there are plenty of directors that do that. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
Quentin Tarantino is in his own movies a lot, um, but Jon Favreau is I discovered not only makes good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but also has an intense amount of gratitude
Mm.
for which is such an admirable trait to me.
Yeah.
Gratitude, like he's not like entitled or anything like that at all.
Right.
So I was watching this really cool YouTube channel. It's like a cooking show. I was telling you about it earlier.
Oh, okay. Yep.
This is related. It's called Binging with Babish, which I'm sure a lot of people know about.
It's one of the most popular. In fact,
yeah.
So
It's really
ICVM is like a channel that basically I haven't watched anything on. So YouTube just recommends like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Binging with Babish actually comes up on its recommended videos.
Yeah. It's a generally popular show.
Yeah.
So Jon Favreau has been on that show
Mm-hmm.
a couple of times because the Andrew Ray, who is the guy who does the cooking on Binging with Babish, his name's not Babish. It turns out. He's been on there a couple of times, and I was just like watching through a bunch of his Andrew Ray's videos and looking through it, and I watched a couple of those Jon Favreau things, and I got to this part where Andrew Ray was just talking about Jon Favreau because they became sort of like friends,
Mm-hmm.
Across a couple of things, just circumstantially, I think. But Jon Favreau, here's a quote from Jon Favreau, according to Andrew Ray. He said, they're like looking at a news article, right? And there's this like Olympic or like professional skier or something like that. And they have designed their skiing helmet to look like Iron Man, And Jon Favreau just like turns to him and he says, look at that. Like this person, like I like something that I created,
Mm-hmm.
because they obviously Iron Man is a comic book character that was created before Jon Favreau had anything to do with it. But like that's the reason.
He wasn't. Yeah, Iron Man wasn't one of the most popular ones.
No, not at all. Right.
No.
And he's like, look at that. Like he said, this is why we do what we do, because it inspires people, in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like blown away by that he feels that kind of gratitude toward somebody, because you know what he could have been like? He could have been like, that person that's copyright. Like,
that's true. He could have.
You can't do like, what's up with that? There are people like that out there, who they're like, they have like an iron grip on their intellectual properties and stuff. Which it's not like Iron Man is his intellectual property either. But I actually watched, yesterday was Jon Favreau day for me, because I just like watched a bunch of his stuff, because like after hearing that I was like, I got to know more about what this guy's made.
Mm-hmm.
So Iron Man is my favorite Marvel character, always has been,
mm-hmm.
Since the MCU started.
Yep.
I
always will be. All of his future movies are going to be awesome.
Yeah, and Jon Favreau directed all of them. He's a great director.
No spoilers here, guys.
Actor, writer. What?
No spoilers here, guys.
No spoilers. Yeah, I cried, man. During that scene. Anyway.
Yeah. Did you know that the one was improvised?
What?
When Doctor Strange did and Tony was like that sort of deal, that little exchange, that was improvised.
Really?
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch was just like, He was just like, this is what he would do. This is it.
Mhm.
Like, I know it.
Yeah, like
We've done it. Anyway, sorry.
and well, man, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
Right, because you know, and just like the synergy of it all,
Right.
you start connecting all these dots, right?
Mhm.
So, like Robert Downey Jr., um, you know, he's admitted, you know, he made a lot of mistakes when he was younger, but you know, now he's, you know, become this great icon, you know, of an
Yeah.
actor, right?
Yeah.
So in 2014, Jon Favreau had a movie called Chef. I don't know if you've seen it. I watched it for the first time yesterday. I'd never seen it. It's on Netflix, actually, if you want to watch it. I recommend it. Jon Favreau plays the lead, and he's the director and the writer, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. He does a lot of writing, directing, and stuff. Yeah.
Which you know, like maybe if somebody else did it, you'd be like what a vanity project,
Right.
you know, to be the writer, director, and actor. There's so much heart and soul in that movie, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't even tell you.
You know what? I've heard of it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like just under 2 hours long, so it's not like one of those like 3 hour epic movies, you
Right.
know. And like Robert Downey Jr. is in it. This is 2014, right? So this is
Mhm.
like peak Iron Man career. He's in it for like 15 minutes, like not even, right? Which is baffling to me. Uh, that like such a big name, which just to me shows that they have such a good working relationship.
Mhm.
You know, the other thing that I watched was I watched um, most of the second season of The Mandalorian
Right.
on because
Did he produce that?
he's like
Produce
the
it? Okay.
director, producer,
Mhm.
writer of that too,
Yeah.
um, which is also an amazing piece of content. Which I don't think he's in it at all. I mean, maybe he plays one of like the heavily makeup characters, and I didn't notice.
Mhm.
But he's really not in it at all. Um, it's so much more Star Wars to me than a lot of other Star Wars stuff that I've
Yes.
seen.
It's what it's the part of Star Wars that captured people's imaginations, you know,
Yeah,
initially. It was like, what else is happening in here? Like,
hmm
what is this galaxy like where,
yeah,
you know, like you walk into the Mos Eisley Cantina and you're like, you know, you're following Luke,
hmm
right? And he meets Han and stuff, but like, what are all those other people up to?
yeah, yeah. What is everybody doing?
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
How does this come to be?
Right.
Um, and I think it does capture a lot of that. Like I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes of it so far.
hmm
Yeah, I know. I'll watch more later, but
Hey, man, you do you.
like I said,
He's
60 or 70 hours of
yeah,
work a week. Like
yeah,
I have enough time to do a podcast
yeah.
in my free time,
Exactly,
roughly.
exactly. Well, that's why I watched it because I'm gonna be really busy coming up soon,
Yep.
and I knew I wouldn't have time coming up here.
Hmm.
Um, One of my favorite things about it, though,
Yeah.
is that the Mandalorian is played by Pedro Pascal. I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, he's the famous mathematician. Well, physicist.
Did I even say that name right? I might not have. I'm sorry if I totally butchered that, but I think that's his name. He was though he was the only other thing I know him from is Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
He played a character on Game of Thrones, but um, I don't know if Jon Favreau has done this on purpose or if this is just like he had to have done it on purpose because it's such a pervasive thing nowadays. You know, like any movie where uh, somebody has like a suit or a helmet or something,
Hmm.
guess what? That's not staying on for very long.
No.
Or it's like the entire facial part is completely see through.
Yeah.
And once you like note it, once you know that, because and the big reason is like the companies are like we're paying for this actor's face.
Yes.
Like
Like their emotions, their facial expressions, that's like part of the deal.
yeah,
It's
like
what
that.
we need to have. Yeah.
Right. I get it, but it gets kind of comical,
Hmm.
like in certain things. Like I've noticed it in so many films and TV shows, like Stranger Things. If you've seen the first season of that, toward the end, they like go. It's like takes place in like the 80s, right?
Hmm.
And they like go into this thing, and they have these like hazmat suits where not it makes me laugh because the hazmat suits not only have like completely clear like face shield things, like perfectly clear like windowed face shields, but they have lights in them that shine
On
on the face.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, that's so funny to me, right? And like the MCU, Iron Man's helmet stays on not very long, right?
Right. He's constantly like,
like
oh,
you know, he's
hey
always showing his
guys.
face. That could be like a Tony Stark thing.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
For Iron Man too, all he has to do is be like, all right, it's back down.
Right,
like
exactly.
He doesn't have to do anything. It just clink.
I'm not
goes.
saying I'm not saying it's like always a bad thing, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing for. I mean, in the same way that like D&D isn't real life.
Yeah,
movies and stuff are not real life, and so and all these visual media, and sometimes you have to convey stuff in a certain way.
That's true.
But
I just really appreciate that in The Mandalorian for the entire first season, you don't see his face. He's like a pretty prolific actor, right? You don't see his face at all, and well, until like the last episode of season 1, and then in season 2, you see it a lot more. But like that's one of the deals of the character, if you didn't know already, that like a Mandalorian never takes off his helmet, like he never shows his face,
right?
Like that's a thing,
yeah.
Right. So like it's like a high stakes thing, like, oh boy, I like I have to do this for this reason, but I don't want to, I'm doing it because it's for the better of, whatever, right? And then like the first opportunity he gets, he puts it back on. So, it's one of those things. I don't know. It's a small, really small thing, but I applaud him for it. Like going against convention, because in the case of the Mandalorian, um, it adds more to the character that he doesn't take the helmet off and that you don't see his face. He's got that Old West vibe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it gives you the impression of him that the characters get. Like it lets you feel how he feels to them a little bit more.
Exactly. I like how minimalist his lines are. I mean, there are entire sections where somebody.
That's like Samurai Jack there.
Yeah.
That's some Samurai Jack stuff.
Yeah, well, there are entire episodes of Samurai Jack where nobody says a thing.
Right.
But but even himself, like people talk at him.
Sometimes he just doesn't say something.
He just doesn't say anything.
And it's not because he like
and
there's more to acting. See what I'm saying? Than speaking.
Exactly. It's so good, and Pedro Pascal is so good at it too, with his body language. Like
that's the thing I would challenge myself when I was running summer camps at the martial arts schools. We would have like a routine, right? So there would be times when like there was a whole like regular class time basically within it. So I would challenge myself to run the entire thing without talking at all, and it worked.
Yeah, it's possible.
I would not say anything, and the students would all be like following along and doing all the right stuff. And then at the end of it, I'd be like, "Wow, you guys did great. I was just seeing if I could teach without talking." And
it works.
It works, yeah. And
because
sorry, that's a tangent.
Well, it's a good one.
Yeah,
really, because I just wanted to say how awesome Jon Favreau is. If you guys get a chance to watch anything that Jon Favreau has made, it's probably good. I haven't seen everything he's made, obviously. Off the top of my head, the only things actually I can even think of are Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Obviously, he's in a lot of the other Avengers movies and stuff because he plays Happy.
He directed Endgame? Maybe? Question mark? I don't remember.
Partially. Well, I thought that was the Russo brothers.
I don't know if they did Endgame. I know they did
Infinity War.
He might have produced it. I don't know. It was something. I
No.
guess he probably didn't produce. I don't
Well,
know.
maybe he was involved in
I'm
some
sure he
capacity.
was.
Well,
I
I'm
just
sure
don't
he
know how
was too,
much.
but
Yeah, it was probably still the Russo brothers friend game. That would make sense.
and
Anyway,
watch Chef.
yeah,
Watch the movie Chef. It's so good.
it's gonna be in your homework, guys.
It's real good.
It's gonna be in there.
Couldn't recommend it enough, honestly.
All right. I got one more thing.
Okay.
One more quickie.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do some homebrew today too, then we could keep going forever. But
I think it would be worth pulling one up. But
yeah, we'll get a homebrew. So I discovered that I should be reading about the characters I play in D&D.
Yeah.
And like how they're supposed to, because I just found out recently that I didn't know how artificers worked.
Yeah.
And so
okay.
Yeah, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Artificers don't cast spells.
Okay.
I do have spells as an artificer.
Yeah.
They do not cast them the way that a wizard casts a spell. Here's what an artificer does. They build spells.
Yeah.
So they use tools to manipulate the weave. That's the magic-y whatever in D&D.
Yeah.
So they use their tools to manipulate it. So actually what my character is supposed to do a spell is not a verbal, somatic, and material component. He is supposed to be using a set of tools as an arcane focus. So no material components at all.
Okay.
And he's supposed to like be like hammering and whatever directly on the magic. And then like boom, magic comes out.
That makes sense.
That's what he's supposed to be doing.
That would be almost encroaching into bard territory. That's like that says bard
that's how bards work, but theirs is an instrument or sometimes their own voice.
Yeah. It's artistry. It's artistry in a less tangible form.
Yeah.
Auditory.
Some people also prefer if the artificer sort of like prepares their spells ahead of time and like has a thing on them that like they deploy.
Yeah.
But you'd use it in the same way. Like you'd have to have your hands free so you could use it. So it works equivalently to the tool set and stuff, but like it's like a thing you built that holds magic. And you but there are also items and stuff that they can make later, or you can imbue items with spells and it just holds the spell.
Yes.
Like you can make a little remote bomb and stuff like that. So yeah, I just found that out recently, and it I was like, wow, had I read this, I would have been playing a lot differently than I am. Maybe not a lot differently, but at least a little bit differently.
Yeah,
there'd be significant differences. Yeah.
Well, it's not too late to.
Yeah, now that I know
go into that territory, you know,
But that's the thing. I think the only reason I knew that though is because I watched I watched WebDM's analysis on the all of the artificer class and subclasses. Actually, I don't think I finished it yet, but I probably will. Because it's a good video, but it's like as long as our podcast, so
don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, it was like really helpful. But that's also why I think when you do stuff like this, you should listen to other people play or watch other people play or stuff like that, so you can kind of get an idea of how you're supposed to be using these characters. Because like I'm pretty confident I could play a good wild magic barbarian right now. Like I get how that class works.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that I could play, you know, like a rogue or even some other classes that I've seen people play it. Well, a rogue actually it's just not my thing. But like I could play a monk now or some things like that. Whereas I couldn't before because I didn't get how they were supposed to work.
Okay.
Definitely a ranger I get now. And a fighter. Well, fighters.
Yeah, fighters.
But like I get how to do different types of fighter, like an archer or like a close-up bruiser, grappler type, or you know, things like that. So yeah, it's important to learn how to play the game to have a good time playing it.
Yeah, and there's sort of like a balance to that too, because that is, a lot of those things I think are more like suggestions.
Well, those things, yes. There's other stuff about the class that, like, had I known it, I would have been using those features.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know about them because it like briefly tells me about them on D&D Beyond when I level up.
Yeah.
But like the source book goes into detail.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it doesn't even really tell me about artificer stuff that I could be using. It just tells me about artillerist stuff that I get. And like the artificer stuff is just like, okay, you can whatever, you can do this, go look it up. And then I just never look it up. And then I realized later that, oh, it means I can make magic items now or something like that.
Yeah, I can this now.
I can always craft a magic item. Like I could always be working on that and I didn't even realize it or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them take months to make or things like that, but and millions of gold. But some of the cheaper ones and the faster ones to make, I can do that. Like a common magic item, I could craft those now. Yeah, and I just haven't. Or at least I think I can craft them. I forget what level I am. Maybe that's level 6 actually. But like by level 15 or so, I can craft rare magic items at 1/16 of the normal time and cost it takes to make them and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So you do still have to. There is a cost to them.
Yes,
to make them.
There is a cost.
That's what I thought.
In either materials or gold. I think it's really just gold though. It's like and it takes time.
Yes.
And literally it is sometimes months or years. Uninterrupted time, I think, maybe? Question mark? Not sure about that. But anyway, yes, I am going to be building many decks of many things is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put them all over. I'm just going to hide the cards all over the place. And when people pick them up, they're going to be like, oh, I got attacked by a wraith, or I got wish, awesome, or who knows. All right, anyway, yeah.
Okay, because I guess I kind of just brushed that off because the other artificer has made stuff, and it did cross my mind. I was like, there's no way they can just make stuff. Like, there has to be another thing about that.
Yeah.
I don't think.
But yeah, we can at some point. I don't remember when.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know if like the material or the time was used. I mean, like, whatever now, like, it doesn't matter. But
the other thing though is I found out that she should be throwing potions on things and like getting more potions ready and stuff like that. Because like
they're helpful.
There are potions that like do damage if you hit somebody with them.
Yeah.
So if you just had catapult, first of all, the spell itself, if it hits, like that's 3d8 damage or whatever at first level, second level or whatever. I don't remember. It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But then it destroys the vial of the potion.
Yep.
Splashing it all over the target, doing more damage. That's a crazy. It's like in one hit she could take down a lot of pretty rough enemy because she'd be doing
3d8.
She's got what's that called? Wizard's Fire or something like that, 13. Like a fire potion thing. Well, yeah. So you got
like 13 or 14.
Well, let's take the max damage. The 3d8 you could do 24. Yeah, plus, I think it's 2 to 3 d6 of the fire damage on top of that from the potion hitting them. So that's like another 12. So we're talking like 36 damage at most. That's pretty good for like a first level spell slot and a potion. like all you do is just go like blah. Plus it's a dexterity saving throw for the hit. So like that's good too.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, if it misses, it can hit the next target, somebody behind, and it can keep going up to 90 feet or something. So if you just line them up, if you line them up, you can't go wrong.
It'll probably hit somebody, depending on how many there are. Yeah, that's part of the strategy too. Well, we were talking about experience and encounter building and
Mm-hmm.
you know
Well, that's
challenge
exactly
rating
it.
stuff.
With catapult specifically, I like actually lined one up in the last battle we did, and then I realized that the catapult spell doesn't require me to be standing at the origin point.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
actually
cool.
supposed to be an item that is not being held or anything.
Oh,
But you can do it. I think you can do it from your own hand.
well, I'm sure you could. I don't see why not. That would be
Yeah, but like I could just drop one of my sling bullets and then be like,
yeah. You could literally like toss it, and
yeah,
and then
just go like,
catapult it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, why not? You
yeah.
know?
So that's fun.
That's such a cool image too.
It is,
Being
right?
like,
Yeah, you just, I would show it to it for the gnolls. I could see them being like, "Oh, it's a shiny ball." My hyena instincts are kicking in. And then like I throw it, and then they're like, and then I'm like, and they're just like, goes right through their head,
yeah,
or whatever. It did really. I think it took one out, or something. It did some. No, it didn't take him out. It just did some good damage.
yeah. I don't
It missed
remember.
the first one and hit the second one, and I was like, yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but so the in like with challenge rating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I'm doing a very good job playing the bad guys.
They can be more strategic or things like that.
Yeah, because um so the challenge rating system on D&D Beyond is terrible because it takes into consideration how many player characters there are too.
Oh, okay.
Right, to tell you like if it's easy, medium, hard, or deadly.
Yeah, when you go to build the encounter. Yeah.
Yeah, I made it like a while ago, like months ago. I made an encounter that said it was deadly, and I was like, okay, and it didn't. I don't think a single
Was that the big mushroom guy,
creatures,
or was it the?
I don't even remember which one it was specifically. I just remember that it ended, and you guys didn't have like a scratch on you. Like,
right.
it was like nothing happened. Right.
Yeah.
It was almost like nothing happened. And I was like, man, well, that's what's so tough. That's another thing that's tough about 7 people is like, how do I make it balanced when you guys get 7 turns before they like you could kill something before it even gets a hit off.
Yeah.
In a lot of instances.
And then when they attack back, some creatures have like 4 or 5 turns or 4 or 5 actions. No, we haven't run into any with 4, but we've ran into 3 or things.
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah. You ran into one that has 3 attacks.
Yeah. And when it does that, it's like it's totally not a threat to us at all for all 7 of our turns. And then it just kills somebody in 1 turn.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, well, then we just have to stay away from it, I guess. You know, or like things like that, which is, yeah, it's a hard thing to balance.
It is. It's tough. I've tried a couple of different things. I think I did a better job with the last encounter that you guys
that
had.
one was pretty good.
But
because it was like troubling. We had some issues. I was worried at many points, but at the same time, I was also like, well, we're here. We can probably do this. So we'd better do this. Like, we better just...
Right.
You know?
And this is why I don't totally trust the challenge rating system, because that encounter should have been like double deadly.
Yeah.
Or like triple deadly.
Even.
Yeah. And in reality, though...
I think part of it's the terrain, too, because we had a really good setup.
Yeah,
like
which makes a difference.
We thought it through a little bit before we just went in. I think if we were in the pyramid, it would have been like a lot more deadly. And if we hadn't done any damage to begin with.
Yeah, you guys got that 1 round of some damage. Yeah.
Yeah, we would have been in a lot of trouble without that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was thinking like there might be other things I could do. Like I could potentially like make their stats mostly the same, but just like way increase their hit points. That's one way to do it. you know, because what really surprised me about that last round or that last one was Dissel did like what, like
40 something
40
damage in a
something
turn.
damage,
Yeah.
which for like a challenge rating 8 creature was like half its hit points or like a third of its hit points or something.
Yeah, and that was like the toughest enemy there.
Right,
Like
exactly.
the other ones he could one shot easily.
Right, exactly.
Although he is so warlocks, and especially if he takes any levels as a sorcerer, they're sort of set up like that where they just deal out this huge, crazy, like explosion of damage all at once. So that's just how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, but it was the thing that worried me about it was that the spell he used was a cantrip.
Yes,
so
that is true.
It was Eldritch Blast,
right?
So
he could just do that every turn.
Yeah.
He just has crazy damage output. It took a lot of luck, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did roll. I think he said almost maximum damage on the dice, but neither of them were natural 20. Like it wasn't a crit either. Like if he had crit on one of those, even that would have been like what, like 50 something damage.
It's too bad we don't have a bard in the party to give him advantage and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
or well, not exactly advantage,
but like bardic inspiration.
Yeah,
would be useful.
Somebody can give people advantage. There are a lot of ways to set up advantage.
Yeah. I mean, Saren has guiding bolt.
It's too bad that Dissel isn't an elf to get that triple advantage from the elven advantage too, or whatever it's called, elven whatever.
Elven accuracy,
something like that. Yeah, there's an elf feat, racial feat that gives you the ability to give yourself advantage, like once a day or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jeez. But and it stacks on other so you can roll 3 d20s and pick the highest.
It does stack because advantage doesn't normally stack.
I know, but this one does. I think it lets you re-roll one of your
and
dice.
You can choose which
so you can choose.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines.
That sounds like the lucky feat.
It sounds like the lucky feat, but it might be elven accuracy. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that doesn't sound like elven accuracy. Anyway,
I don't know. There's a really good one for elves. That's all I know.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
But also, it's good that he's not that too. At the same time, like it's probably best to not have fully optimized characters all the time.
Yeah. Well, we talked about flaws and how that makes things interesting too before, but you want a homebrew?
Yeah, let's get a homebrew before we get going.
Because I got a small
one. Okay.
It's like a little tiny one. I think that our audience missed the homebrew last time. We didn't get to a homebrew last time.
Yeah, and we won't find out if they missed it until later today because that's when the episode came out. But yeah I missed it too.
Yeah. I spoiled it for somebody that we didn't do a homebrew and they were disappointed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's back.
So we got to do one this time. Okay. This is marshmallow _ figs.
Marshmallow _ figs.
Yeah.
Is it Marshmallow the musician?
No, marshmallow.
Oh.
Like the actual food.
Marshmallow. Oh, that's the username.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was the... Okay, what is the thing? I was like, this is a real puzzling one. Why is there an underscore in the name of this D&D thing?
Oh, okay. I haven't read this other than the title since I added it, which was like a month ago. So this is going to be fun.
All right, what's the title here?
It's called The Power of God and Anime. It's a weapon. It could be any weapon. It's only uncommon, and it requires attunement by a paladin.
That makes sense. Okay.
Let's both discover what this is because I don't remember.
Okay.
These magic weapons are inscribed with runes on the hilt and sides. The runes are designed with the visages. Visages?
Visages.
Visages?
Well, some people say it different. Yeah.
Visages.
When it's... How do you pluralize that? Visage?
I'm going to say visages.
Visages. Visages. Anyway.
With the visages of heroes. Drawn in a style with large eyes and unorthodox hairstyles.
Okay.
I'm getting it now because it requires attunement by a paladin.
Mhm.
Okay. As a bonus, as an bonus action.
Keep it
This
going.
keeps getting better. The wielder lets out a mighty yell, activating the power within.
That sounds good for this.
Yep, for the next minute, anytime the wielder uses their divine smite, they can use D10s instead of D8s.
Okay.
That's really simple.
That is simple. It's like nice and easy, and it totally like it. The theming's on point.
Yeah, I like the theming.
I love the idea that you'd have a sword with a bunch of anime faces on it,
just on the hilt.
Yeah, that's hilarious to me because I was pretty into swords as a kid.
Me too.
And I always wanted to get, and I still am planning on getting some swords eventually.
I had some. I don't know if I still do.
Yeah. I'm planning on getting some real serious ones though, because like I want really good ones.
Yeah,
but I remember wanting the swords from Bleach, which you can buy,
the Zanpakuto.
And they are not that expensive.
What? They're not?
They are not that expensive. You could just go out and buy one right now and probably not even feel that bad about it because it's near the holidays. Like I think they're in the $90-ish range.
What?
They're sharpened.
What?
I would not use them to cut things.
No, but still,
the tang and stuff. Is like this little. It's the rat tail tang that they have in some swords. It's just like ground down to like and they'll come apart. They'll just explode when you try to cut stuff with them.
Right. Then why are they sharpened? Whatever.
Because people are going to cut stuff with them anyway.
Yeah, they're for kids.
Like, well,
that's why they're sharpened.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so you can buy a lot of the Zanpakuto from Bleach. I liked who's the dude who has his two swords connected, Ryusei or whatever?
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
He was my favorite character, and also his swords were my favorite. So I would have gotten his.
Oh, dude, I liked Bleach back in the day. So much.
Anyway, yeah. So this sword, that weapon is just too real. It's just too real, man.
Yeah.
It's uncanny.
That's why I added it. It was such a good.
It's perfect.
You know.
And that's the kind of quality weapon we hope to bring you in our merch store.
The merch.
Dude, what about that? Oh my God, that'll be the most unique merch ever. We put our faces on the hilt of a sword?
Yeah. Oh, right? It would have to be so expensive, though.
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't be happy with it. But
yeah, exactly.
Guys, oh my God, we could fulfill my lifelong dream of having an amazing sword by me making a merch store where other people also buy the sword, so I don't have to pay as much for it. But I'm definitely buying a bunch of them.
Would you want to own a sword with your face on it? Yeah,
no.
Neither would I. I wouldn't want that at all.
No, I prefer swords that are
cool,
much more subtle.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I think that when we do get to making merch, we're going to agree on most of it.
Yeah,
because subtlety is the name of the game.
Yeah,
that's how I feel too.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell by the shirt.
I don't just want like ICVM or something like that in some janky font or something. Like I prefer a design that brings about memories of breakfast in the chat.
Oh, okay.
You know,
well, that's
like
even more so.
But it's not like just a picture of breakfast food either. It's just like I don't know yet. I'm not a designer. I don't have the talent in that area.
Literally just like a chat box and it just says breakfast.
I mean, that'd be fine. Yeah,
that'd be fine. Hey, Carly sent me this this thing on Instagram the other day. But I'm going to leave this as a cliffhanger because this is actually like a conversation topic. We should probably talk about it next time.
We'll do that. Thanks, Carly. Feel free to send us stuff, guys. We'll talk about the stuff that you want us to talk about.
And she didn't even really want us to talk about this. It just seemed.
Oh well, like you have no choice now, Carly.
Yeah, it just seemed like a relevant thing to talk about on the show.
If you want to talk about it, though, if you want to get on an episode with us, yeah, we'll see. That's probably not going to happen. Things are busy right now.
Yeah, I'll have my people talk to your people.
Yeah, we'll see if we can maybe reach out. Guys, it's been wonderful today.
Yeah.
Real nice talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
as usual.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope your ears have put up with this for the whole episode. Haven't run away or anything like that. I'm just joking too. I actually think that it sounds pretty decent, and like
Yeah,
and I'm proud of the episodes we make.
yeah. I enjoyed hopefully getting some people to watch Jon Favreau movies.
Yeah, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
We didn't figure out how to end episodes yet.